For years, humans have been hacking computers, but new technologies have advanced to where computers can do something greater. Hack human reality. First search result, game maker Robin Arnott. He makes games that aren't just played. They play the player.
There's no visuals. It's entirely blind. You're totally blind in there.
I'm Robin Arnott. I'm an experimental game maker. A couple of years ago, I made this game called Deep Sea. Deep Sea was, for me, an experiment in immersion, and it ended up being terrifying.
It's so weird. It's so weird. It's so weird to see this. Like, this thing kind of launched my career because I was already thinking about sort of hacking consciousness, just using fear and terror to do so.
I learned so much making Deep Sea, so much about perception, so much about the way we create our world. I started wondering, can I take all the techniques that I learned making Deep Sea and apply that to something more positive, more beautiful, more grounding, and that's where Sound Self comes from.
Sound Self is this virtual reality project I've been working on for about 4 years. It is the fusion of contemporary video game trance with traditional meditation technology. The original idea of Sound Self comes from my experience as a participant at Burning Man. My first peak experience came on a mild dose of LSD at Burning Man. From there, everything else just shattered, and I realized that path into the peak experience was something that I could reproduce with game mechanics. There's a microphone on the virtual reality headset, you have headphones in your ears, and you're invited to chant with your voice. Ooh, long tones like this. And Sound Self hears these long tones, and it resonates with it. It produces sounds that share the tone that you're producing. And you stop chanting, and you choose another tone. And now Sound Self is making music out of these tones you've brought into it. And there are these abstract visualizations that are dancing in front of you, that are generated by the music, that is generated by your voice. And you breathe in, and everything shuffles around and changes, and it's breathing with you, it's chanting with you, it's singing with you.
I think this game is the first of its kind, and I think it really has the capacity to move people into a more whole, more mindful way of living and knowing themselves.
When I started talking about Sound Self, when I first started showing Sound Self, I was the cool kid. I was the cool VR kid. I was the guy doing new stuff with VR. Everybody wanted me at their parties. Everyone wanted Sound Self at the parties. People were writing about me, no problem. And now, virtual reality is hitting streets. And I'm not the cool kid anymore. Our whole business plan for, okay, so how are we gonna do this in order to make this crazy, wild, weird art piece commercially viable was to launch with Oculus and to be part of that beginning conversation, and we missed that.
There's no existing models of how to create something like this. We've had to invent and invent and invent every step of the way, and that takes a long time.
We did a Kickstarter about 3.5 years ago, I think. We're still not ready, still pulling the pieces together.
Felix is our producer.
Good to see you. Do you want me to read this to you?
Yeah, read me the list. Let's do it.
The command to keep vocalizing remains after the rest of the intro disappears, because what often happens is as soon as the intro disappears, people stop chanting.
You're right, that's a very gamey thing.
Yeah. Something my programmer says, the first 90% of the game takes the first 90% of the time. The last 10% of the game takes the last 90% of the time.
The good news is that it's almost exactly the same list as I have.
Yeah.
Bad news is that it's almost exactly the same list as I've had for a while.
People have really taken a risk on me, and if it doesn't pay off for them, then who's gonna take a risk on me next time?
Why don't I tell you a tale? A tale of art, and my personal favorite, weirdos.
Throughout human history, altered realities have been sought out through spiritual practices, science, or psychotropic drugs. Now reality can be altered digitally. Second search result. An artist collective that uses technology to not just alter human reality, but augment it.
We started as an art collective. A group of people got together, just needing urgently to express themselves in an art world that had no room for us.
Oh, Meow Wolf is pretty much a cult, but we're not, you know, it's like not that bad. It's an ode to the traditional role of artists, not only in Santa Fe, but just on the planet.
Well, I was vaguely aware of the group Meow Wolf for a number of years, because they've been active in Santa Fe for, I think, close to a decade. But I became much more aware of the Meow Wolf through Vince Kadlubeck. Vince called me up and told me that Meow Wolf had this new project, this new dream, really.
It's always been that we started with these empty spaces, and then we would go from there. And so it's fitting that with this project with George started with an empty bowling alley.
I sent him an email. I was like, fuck it, let's just see what happens. Maybe he'll be interested. And I sent him an email saying, hey, George, there's an old bowling alley, and I think you might be into it.
The old Silver Lanes bowling alley closed around 2008. I passed that every day. It always broke my heart. It makes me sad to see a boarded-up building, or especially if it has a cool, colorful history.
He did a bunch of renovations, about $3 million worth of renovations to get the building like in a proper shape.
You had this gigantic, cavernous space. The idea of bringing it back to life really appealed to me, and boy, has it come back to life.
I'm Alva, and I'll be your gate agent today.
We launched this like mega immersive art exhibition called the House of Eternal Return. It's like a family entertainment experience. It's like a story that you get to actually walk through.
That is insane.
You discover these wormholes that lead into other dimensions.
I'm a science fiction fantasy guy, and the idea of this Victorian house unmoored in time and space with secret passages and tunnels and mastodons and space portals and haunted forests and cave systems, you know, it just hit me right in my sweet spot. I couldn't resist that. Like Disneyland on acid.
I mean, the truth is, audiences want to have psychedelic experiences, and so, you know, they want to be taken out of their everyday life, and that's what we're trying to do here. You know, we're trying to give people a sense of not existing in reality anymore. You have just layers upon layers of work within these walls to make everything happen here. I mean, you have sound install, lighting install, you have interactivity.
There's over 48,000 addressable LEDs in the exhibition. We ran over 50,000 feet of low voltage LED wiring. There's over 175 discrete channels of audio. There's 12,000 watts of DC power. There's over 200 hours of time required in the space to like really understand the full depth and breadth of that story.
The tech team is what separates us from any other museum and any other art experience. Though it's very expensive and it's very time-consuming and it's difficult because tech naturally fails, it's also what sparks people's imaginations and brings people back and gets people excited.
So we're gonna bring together all of the crazy, brilliant minds of Meow Wolf's tech team and have them figure out how to create a virtual version of the entire exhibition that we created.
In 1990, Terence McKenna said, "I think that the difference between computers and drugs is going to migrate towards the vanishing point. That the computers of the future will be drugs, and the drugs of the future will be computers." In 2016, virtual reality will be my portal to lucid dream worlds fantastic and bizarre. I will occupy these stages.
Virtual reality has promised a new dimension for many years. Now, technology is getting to the point where it may finally deliver. Games like Sound Self are not just using this new medium, however, they are shaping its potential.
Every technology, I think, has its moment. I think Sound Self has the best chance to make a big impact while virtual reality is new, while we're still figuring out what virtual reality is. And if I don't ship this soon, I'm gonna miss that window, and it's not gonna matter, because people are gonna think they know what VR is. Biggest priorities right now are to create these guided meditations to lull a person into the experience.
Test. Introductory meditation to Sound Self. First take. Welcome to Sound Self. Relax your body into a comfortable position, lying down or reclining. Before.
Yeah, let's table it and think about that. We've got a lot going with PR right now.
Independently developing a revolutionary experience like this is no small task at all, and our weekly project calls are getting more and more stressful.
Basically, we're out of money in terms of development and now running on just time, right? So, like, the money we do have is self-funded, and we're down to the wire on that.
We have the beta launch scheduled for 2 weeks from now.
I really think that what we need to do is get this list done, wrap up this development sprint, figure out what that looks and feels like. Because Robin will be the one to be able to say, like, I feel closure now. I feel like this could ship.
Okay, you're right.
But no, the point here is running out of money, but that doesn't mean that development is impossible. It just means that we've got to wrap it up.
Yep.
Right?
My friend Topher is a really brilliant illustrator who can help take this abstract experience and convey it to people in an image.
This is for the storefront image, yeah?
That's right.
Cool. Man, this is really cool.
What is the storefront image?
We put Sound Self up on like Steam and on the Oculus store. We need some sort of image to be like, this is the game, you know, it's the box art. That's gorgeous, that is gorgeous.
So what I'm going to do with these is scan these in and then use these as layers for the box art.
Ooh, that looks so much nicer. It looks like a very analog interpretation of some of the visual styles we have going on in the game. So looking at this right now, it doesn't look to me like this is kind of exploding out of her. It looks like that's the background to her. It looks like she's in front of this. I would love it if this felt like it was exploding out of her head, if it was coming from her.
Like really emanating from, like, which direction? Like if I was her, you know, so from the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man, this is looking really awesome. I love the direction this is going in.
I need to do one last test just to make sure that the guided meditation is working and that the audio issues are finished before we can ship this.
Yeah, you're getting some crackles in the audio, Robin.
Okay.
Does this thing give you a cigarette afterwards?
No, it fades out and dies.
Like all things. You think that's future-proof enough?
I don't know if it matters, you know? Like new stuff is coming at such a rate. I'm not making this technology for the next 100 years. I'm making it for the next 3 to 5 years. Technology is now an event. Then the next thing comes around, and it doesn't, you know. Yeah, it's as future-proof as it needs to be, I think.
Instructions.
What are those for?
By transforming the physical world into a virtual one, Meow Wolf is attempting a radically unique approach to delivering a psychedelic experience. But creating a new blended world is no small task.
This idea is an entire branch of Meow Wolf that doesn't exist right now, just so that we can start to wrap our brains around what are we delivering first, what then delivers, and what are we building up to.
The technical aspects are half the battle. There's a whole nother narrative piece and assets that have to be assembled and integrated.
If we wanted to have a VR mode where people could use you know, the cardboard, yeah, and could essentially walk around the exhibit with a headset on, experiencing the exhibit, but with the VR overlay on it. We actually are creating like this multiverse.
I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Our team is getting ready to present this demo to George R.R. Martin for his next visit. You know, you pretty much don't move around. You're located in one space, but you get to explore space virtually.
So we're using a process called photogrammetry, which is used a lot in like AAA video game development. It's really a great technique for taking real-world objects that are texture dense and letting you recreate models of them really quickly, actually. So we're mapping this chair. It's surprisingly comfortable, even though it looks gross. We brought in a really high-quality version of that chair, and we matched it perfectly to its digital self. The idea is that you can roll around in this chair, and based off of its movements, it can augment different things in the room. This is something that we're doing a lot of R&D with. It's kind of a cue for the future as to how we're going to put our exhibits together.
Right, 2.0 world entry.
2.0 world, 2.0 world.
Oh man, I'm there already. And that means that's where the actual, that's so crazy to actually feel it. This is getting close. And then this is just like, what is that? Did I just hit a thing?
That is the great expanse of nothing.
I like that. Oh man, this is ridiculous. It looks so clean, and it doesn't feel like how it looks.
So I think what we're doing a lot here too is developing these proofs of concept so that, you know, people like George can come in and try things out and give feedback and be like, ooh, I really like that experience. That would really add to my experience here at Meow Wolf.
The transition of light.
Coding, programming, systems programming, interfacing, these are complicated things.
You know, when you're developing with anything like this, you know, all the hardware that you're using is the first generation of that hardware. It's stalled out on me like 3 times, you know, in the past day. So we're definitely working on making it a little bit more solid where it's gonna work no matter what. We have a bit to do, but yeah, we're excited about the progress over the last couple days.
Robin had a moment of clarity in the desert 4 years ago that led to the idea for Sound Self. Now, with the final version ready to launch, he faces a moment of truth.
Sometimes I look at the game and I remember when we first started on it, and I see how far we've come. I see how much more alive. I mean this literally, it's alive. It's this living being that we created.
It's funny. It's like, you know, I've been so tunnel visioned on this project for 4 years. It's just like I can't see beyond the end of it. And I have things that I see as maybes, you know, like I have a really unique way of looking at technology that I think can be useful. There's a gaming convention in town that I'm going to demo Sound Self at.
So this is the Games for Change conference. Games for Change is really focused on using games as a mechanism for good. I'm so ready to give it to the world and just be done.
Reminded me of my first acid experience. The first time I dropped acid. That's what it reminded me of. It worked.
It's something that, one, I've never seen before. 2, it's hard to describe.
My experience is things like a psychedelic. You forget about any kind of worries.
It's an effective experience. It's amazing to see people come out of it moved by it. It's humbling to see that how this little idea I had a few years ago, 4 years ago, expressed so much more powerfully than I ever imagined it could be.
After the demo, the time has finally come to release SoundSelf out into the world.
Each of us has our gifts, our unique way of seeing things, our unique frame of seeing things, and sometimes you get an opportunity to take something you're witnessing and share it in a way that can help us. Virtual reality is a huge part of this game. It totally immerses you. I think it points to something. I think it points to how we can change our relationship with technology. That's why I want to share SoundSelf with as many people as possible.
As virtual reality combines with physical reality, a new hyper-reality is born. From that new dimension, new stories and ways to tell those stories emerge for its creators.
You need max headroom on one of these screens. And maybe a little Game of Thrones, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So George is coming to check out all the progress that we've made with Meow Wolf. He hasn't visited in quite some time, and we've been putting a lot of work into the tech and interactive elements. And so he's gonna check those out.
Caught anyone having sex in here yet? I figured it would be like the Mile High Club.
The idea of interactivity is really key for Meow Wolf experiences. What excites me about having like a virtual reality layer to our exhibitions is just this like window into the infinity. It's a window into like the infinite realms of the imagination. It's magical.
So here, George, here you go, if you'd like to.
Okay.
Go for it.
The opinion of most people when they hear the word art is, you know, paintings hung on a wall, or a sculpture that you stand back and appreciate Michelangelo's David or the Pieta or something, but you certainly don't touch it, and you don't get too close to it, and you don't breathe on it.
So hop up, George, so that you can actually reach out and touch that.
I see the chair. Yes, there's the chair. The chair has improved. It's no longer stained. It's a more attractive color. And here I'm approaching this, what looks like an iron grate, but no, I'm hitting something here. And here's this ominous black door. What happens if I go through that? It's an amazing thing, and I hope it'll lead to, you know, to more. I mean, it's the interface of art and technology. It's like you're stepping into a science fiction world instead of reading in a book. See, but he's in a virtual room, so he won't see anyone coming to attack him in the real room.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, that is so good.